3.5 years of ferocious fighting continues in eastern Ukraine. But the question looming ahead of Friday's summit is, when will the guns fall silent? Is this the moment that a powerful and unorthodox American president can broker, if not a peace deal, then at least a ceasefire and a frozen front line? Donald Trump will leave for Alaska at dawn on Friday for his fateful meeting with President Putin. Although a short time ago, the president talked of a second summit that might be of still greater consequence.
If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelenskyy and myself, if they'd like to have me there. And that would be a meeting where maybe it could be absolutely work. But the first meeting will not work that out. Certain great things can be gained in the first. It's going to be a very important meeting, but it's setting the table for the second meeting.
In Europe, the pace of diplomacy has been accelerating. President Zelenskyy arrived in Berlin to meet with the German Chancellor this morning. And they then joined a video conference with US and other European leaders. From Downing Street, the Prime Minister told the group, the so-called Coalition of the Willing, that Britain's support will be unwavering for Ukraine and that international borders must never be changed by force.
Because this is a critical moment. We have to combine active diplomacy on the one hand with military support to Ukraine and pressure on Russia. And so that all has to come together as ever.
But the Ukrainian leader is facing a perfect storm. Military reversals on the front line and deep anxiety that a deal is being cut behind his back. That's why today he insisted again that Russia can never have a veto over Ukraine joining the European Union or NATO. Trump's critics claim that the president was ill-prepared and outmaneuvered by President Putin when they met in Helsinki in 2018. And they fear a repeat, that Alaska will be a moment when the Russian leader is able to legitimize and maximize Moscow's recent territorial advances on the battlefield. The meeting venue this time is a US military base near Anchorage, land that was all once part of the Russian Tsarist Empire. One of many ironies as the two leaders meet to discuss ending a war being waged 5,000 miles away. Robert Moore, ITV News, Washington.
Well, Carl Dinnan is in Downing Street for us now. So, Carl, Ukraine and European leaders did everything they could, really, today, didn't they, to shape the agenda of this vital summit in Alaska on Friday. But in the end, it is, in reality, out of their hands, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. It's entirely in the hands of President Trump and President Putin. And that is deeply worrying as a prospect for Ukraine and Ukraine's European allies. And therefore, there has been this huge effort today to try and shape President Trump's thinking ahead of the summit. It started with a call of Ukraine and 8 other European allies, including the UK. Keir Starmer joined from Downing Street. And then they were joined by President Trump. And I understand it was Keir Starmer who set out the European and Ukrainian position to the US president. And that was things like there must be a ceasefire first before there are negotiations, that international borders, cannot be changed by force, as Robert was just saying, and that the issue of Ukrainian territory can only be negotiated by the Ukrainian president. Now, afterwards, Chancellor Merz of Germany said that President Trump understood all of that and that he largely agreed. The question, of course, is whether or not it will work. The Prime Minister, as you said, Mary, described there as being a viable chance of peace. But viable is a very carefully chosen word. It doesn't mean there is necessarily a good chance.